To talk to you today about the Andante and Rondo by Capuzzi. This video is designed to help those of you auditioning for the California All Southern All State auditions, and it will feature the two excerpts from the solo. So let's start with the first movement. So I think that the biggest thing about this first movement is that you really work on the phrasing of this solo. If you look at the overall dynamics of this movement, it's very soft almost all the way through. So what I hear a lot of students do is try to play it too soft, and then it kind of takes away from the sound of the piece, where they feel uncomfortable and they're playing so soft that maybe something doesn't speak, or it just doesn't, they're not phrasing it like they could. So you want to be on the soft side, but don't let that scare you. Go ahead and start piano and do the crescendo decrescendo, and then maybe the third and fourth measure, bring that up a little bit. And so let that build, that phrase build, okay? So look at 5 after A, where we have these eighth notes with the staccato and the slur over it. So my suggestion is to just play them slightly separated. Some people will play them kind of short. That's a kind of a confusing marking a lot of times. So just make sure that, that you're just like a light dot tongue on it. So then what I would say is we're going to look at the Forte Piano after 31. So on this Forte Piano, don't hit it really hard and like a real true Forte Piano. Just let it be a weighted accent, a weighted articulation, and then come down. Okay, because otherwise it's not the type of Forte Piano that you would play in other types of maybe more modern style music. So you just don't want it to stick out. Then anytime you have a trill, I want you to work it out where it sounds really smooth and that you know exactly what you're doing. Sometimes trills, depending on what notes they are, can sound a little rough. So you want to see if you can make it really smooth. 2 after D. Oh, okay. So we have this phrase that has the grace note to a staccato quarter note and then a half note. again, you just want to put a slight space there. Don't play dia, da, dia, da is more of, I think, the style that you want to go for. So when you're working on this, put your metronome at 63, and I want you to record yourself all the time. And while you're doing that, I want you to be listening for your articulation. Are you following exactly what is written? Are you phrasing? This is such a beautiful movement that you can do a lot with the phrasing. So see if you can try to convey some sort of emotion when you're playing this. Another thing that I think is really important is to listen for where you're breathing. I like to go through and mark every space that I'm gonna breathe in. And then when I listen to it, then I can say, you know, does that really make sense to breathe there? Should I wait longer? And so be really prepared with where exactly you're gonna breathe. Because most of the time, if we're not paying attention, we breathe way more than we need to. When you're listening back to your recordings, you know, listen to see if you can hear yourself doing the dynamics. And the big thing, especially on euphonium, is your intonation. A lot of you probably have school instruments that are maybe not the most in tune. And so you got to really know where the tendencies of each note is. So say every time you play an upper F, it's very, very sharp. So what I would like to do is I'll go ahead and mark a little arrow down on that F and make sure that I lip it down and try to get it more in tune. So really working on that, practicing with your metronome and recording yourself, those are the ways you're gonna make it sound really nice. I noticed, like, when I was recording myself over and over again, I was listening to the way, sometimes like if I would go into the mid to lower register, I didn't like the way the articulation sounded, or the tone of the instrument didn't sound as nice. So I had to really try to work on that to make it all sound really smooth when I was going from like an upper register to a lower register. Okay, so let's talk about the second movement. Okay, so the biggest thing with this is our key signature, right? So we have 6 flats. So everything's going to be flat except for F. So you want to make sure that you're playing all those C flats, okay? My suggestion on anything that may be a difficult key signature or is fast, or maybe in this case both, is that you really want to make sure that you're practicing it slow, okay? Maybe put your metronome on at 60 and start practicing it. You want to make sure that your articulation on everything is really, really clear. So we have a lot of stuff that is slur to, tongue to. So make sure that when you're listening back that you're really playing the right articulation. And then I would say that probably the most difficult thing on this whole piece is this run that we have at 108. I think it's difficult, especially because of the key signature and we're crossing over from 2 and 3. So make sure that you practice this very slow. My suggestion is to start on the G flat in measure 108 and just practice da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da over and over again. And then start on the C flat, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, and then put that together, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you can add on the next set of 16th notes. That is a difficult those are difficult fingerings, so you're going to have to practice it really slow and just spend a lot of time on it, and then every day just try to maybe bump it up a click or 2, okay? So I think, like, if you do the same thing, is recording yourself over and over and over again. Record yourself with your metronome, listening to your articulation, listening to your phrases. Where are you breathing? In this edition, there's a lot of breath marks marked in, and I really don't think that they're necessarily meant to be breath marks. It's almost like they're trying to show you what the phrasing is. So I definitely do not do all the breath marks that are written. So you got to do what makes sense to you and where you need to breathe. But maybe just think of it when there's a breath mark that the next part is the beginning of the next phrase. So do that, work on your dynamics and your intonation. And if you record yourself every day, it's just going to get better and better and better. And so, and when you, especially if you're going to audition for Allstate and you're going to make a recording, you're going to know that you can do it, or you're not ready yet, because you've recorded yourself so many times that you know exactly where you have trouble and you might need to keep working on it. So just kind of keep that in mind, and I hope this video helped you, and good luck.